Have you ever stopped to wonder why, no matter how hard you try, your life seems to play out in the same cycles? You visualize, you repeat affirmations, you pour your heart into positive thinking, yet nothing really changes. Deep down, it feels like something is missing, as if the universe isn't listening. But what if I told you it's not that the universe isn't responding, it's that it has been responding all along with perfect accuracy to the frequency you are transmitting? This is the profound truth behind quantum entanglement. Scientists discovered that particles, even when separated by light years, remain mysteriously connected. When one shifts, the other responds instantly, as though space and time don't exist. Einstein himself called it spooky action at a distance. But here's the part nobody tells you. Your thoughts work in the same way. Your subconscious is already entangled with the reality you are living, and with the future reality you could be living. This means that the patterns you hold inside you, the emotions you replay daily, the quiet beliefs shaping your identity, are not locked away in your head. They are broadcasting. They are reaching into the quantum field, linking you to a version of life that already exists. The question is, which future are you entangled with right now? And this is exactly what we are going to uncover together. Because the moment you understand this truth, everything changes. You no longer chase your desires, you align with them. You no longer wait for transformation, you embody it. And when you do, the field cannot help but mirror it back. Before we dive in, I want you to do something powerful, something symbolic. Type 111 in the comments right now. Why 111? Because in numerology, it represents alignment, the signal that your thoughts, your energy, and your reality are beginning to synchronize. Writing it is more than a comment. It is an energetic declaration that you're ready to step into coherence. And if you're new here, or if you've been searching for teachings that don't just inspire, but actually transform the way you see yourself and your reality, then take a second and subscribe. Not as a favor to me, but as a gift to yourself. Because in this space, we're not just learning ideas, we're practicing new ways of being. And together, we're going to explore how your thoughts create reality at the deepest level. So, stay with me. Because what you're about to discover is the one truth about manifestation that changes everything. For centuries, human beings have lived under the assumption that thoughts remain private, that what you feel, believe, or imagine inside your mind has no real impact beyond your own body. You've probably been taught that your thoughts are just fleeting, invisible sparks in your brain, powerless to shape the external world. But quantum physics has shattered that illusion. The science of quantum entanglement proves that the boundary between what's inside of you and what's out there is not as rigid as you once believed. Here's the astonishing discovery. At the subatomic level, particles do not behave like tiny solid marbles bouncing around. They exist as probabilities, as waves of potential, until they are observed. And once two particles become entangled, they stop existing as separate objects. They become one system, mysteriously bound together even across vast distances. Change one, and the other reacts instantly, faster than light itself. Now pause and think about what that really means. If the universe at its most fundamental level operates through entanglement, why would your consciousness be excluded? Why would your thoughts and emotions, which are themselves patterns of energy, not also operate within this entangled web? The answer is, they do. Every thought you generate, every belief you reinforce, every emotion you embody radiates energy into the quantum field. And that energy doesn't vanish. It interacts, it connects, it bonds with possible versions of your future reality. This is why your life often feels like it is repeating itself. Your subconscious has been transmitting the same signal for years, sometimes for decades, and the quantum field has faithfully mirrored it back to you. Not as punishment, not as limitation, but as reflection. The very struggles, delays, and disappointments you experience are not random accidents. They are entangled responses to the vibration you carry. Here lies the hidden bridge between your mind and your reality, your subconscious identity. Because while you may consciously say, "I want abundance, love, peace, and success," your subconscious may still be vibrating scarcity, fear, and self-doubt. And the universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to your baseline frequency. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. The music is already playing: abundance, joy, fulfillment, connection. But if your dial is set to the wrong frequency, you'll never hear it. Not because it isn't there, but because you aren't aligned with it. In the same way, your desired life is already broadcasting in the field. The question is, are you tuned to it, or are you still entangled with a version of reality that no longer serves you? And this is why understanding quantum entanglement is not just a fascinating piece of science. It is a revelation. It means that your current state of being is not a small, isolated experience. It is part of a larger system, instantly connected to outcomes you cannot yet see. Every time you choose a thought, an emotion, or a belief, you are not only shaping how you feel today, you are collapsing realities and entangling with the version of your future that matches that frequency. So let's ask the deeper question: which reality are you unconsciously bonded with right now? And more importantly, how do you break free from entanglements that are keeping you stuck and connect with the future that reflects your highest potential? That's exactly what we'll begin to uncover in the next section. When scientists first discovered quantum entanglement, they realized that the universe does not behave in the way we were taught in school. Imagine two particles that once touched, once shared a connection. Even when separated by light years, they remain mysteriously bonded, responding to each other instantly, as if distance didn't exist. Einstein himself was disturbed by this phenomenon, calling it spooky action at a distance. And yet, despite its strangeness, it is a proven reality. Now pause for a moment and reflect. If particles can remain connected across the immensity of space, what does this mean for us, beings of consciousness who are made of the very same particles? What if your thoughts, emotions, and deepest beliefs are not confined within your skull, but ripple outward, weaving invisible threads that tie you to people, events, and even entire futures you have not yet lived? What if your inner state today is already entangled with the destiny you are walking toward? This is where science begins to mirror the truths that mystics have spoken of for centuries. Entanglement teaches us that separation is an illusion. And if separation is an illusion, then longing, striving, and chasing after a better life are also illusions. You are not trying to reach something that is far away. You are already connected to it. The question is not whether you are entangled, but what you are entangled with. Your subconscious acts as the silent architect of this entanglement. Every thought you repeat, every emotion you indulge, every story you tell yourself about who you are, all of it becomes an energetic thread binding you to a specific version of reality. If your subconscious is saturated with fear, doubt, or scarcity, then you remain bonded to timelines where those very conditions repeat themselves. But if your subconscious is filled with trust, gratitude, and an unshakable vision of possibility, you are linked to a future that reflects those qualities back to you. What makes this so powerful is that entanglement operates beyond time and space. It does not wait for years of gradual change. It does not require external proof before responding. It is instantaneous, invisible, and deeply personal. Right now, without realizing it, you are transmitting signals into the quantum field. These signals, your vibrational patterns, are received and mirrored by realities that already exist in potential, and like a magnet, you find yourself walking toward the very future you've been broadcasting all along. Think about how liberating this truly is. You are not a victim of random chance. You are not waiting for the universe to notice you. You are already co-creating through every beat of your heart, every belief you accept, every feeling you carry in your nervous system. Your life today is not a coincidence. It is a reflection of the entanglement your subconscious has been nurturing for years. So the invitation is simple, yet profound. If entanglement is always happening, why not choose consciously what you will be entangled with? Why not align your inner world with abundance, peace, and love, so that the threads you weave today pull you into the version of yourself who already embodies them? This is not about trying harder. It is about remembering that you are already connected to something greater, and your awareness of that connection is the key to shifting everything. Beneath every thought you think, beneath every word you speak, beneath the choices you make each day, there is a hidden force directing your life with astonishing precision: your subconscious mind. It is not a passive storage system quietly filing away memories while your conscious mind does the heavy lifting. It is the silent engine running in the background, broadcasting signals into the quantum field 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether you realize it or not. Scientists estimate that more than 95% of your daily thoughts, emotions, and decisions originate from subconscious programming. This means that the life you are living right now is not being shaped primarily by your conscious intentions, but by the invisible patterns that have been running beneath your awareness since childhood. You may say, "I want abundance, love, and freedom." But if your subconscious still carries beliefs of scarcity, rejection, and limitation, the frequency you're actually broadcasting into the field is one of lack, and the quantum field, impartial and precise, simply reflects that signal back to you. Think of your subconscious as a finely tuned transmitter. Every belief, every emotion, every expectation acts like a frequency broadcast, just as a radio station cannot transmit jazz while its dial is set to rock. You cannot manifest abundance while your subconscious is still tuned to fear. The music of your life is determined not by what you wish to hear, but by the frequency you are actually transmitting. This is where the connection to quantum entanglement becomes deeply personal. If particles can remain bonded across galaxies, why not your inner world and your outer circumstances? Your subconscious does not simply record your past, it entangles you with futures that match your programming. A subconscious steeped in doubt bonds you with timelines where obstacles and disappointments repeat themselves. A subconscious saturated with trust and gratitude bonds you with futures where opportunities and synchronicities abound. What makes this even more profound is that your subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. This is why visualization, when done with emotional authenticity, can rewire your neural pathways and shift your energy. It's why athletes improve performance by rehearsing mentally, why healing can accelerate through meditation, why gratitude for a future event can bring it into form. The subconscious accepts the emotional experience as truth and begins broadcasting it into the field, collapsing possibilities that align with it. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, what has your subconscious been transmitting lately? When you wake up in the morning, is your first thought one of anticipation or dread? When you think about money, do you feel peace or anxiety? When you consider love, do you feel worthy or doubtful? These are not trivial emotions. They are entanglement signals, tying you to futures that echo them back. The liberating truth is that you are not stuck with these patterns. Just as scientists can reset experiments to produce new outcomes, you can reset your subconscious programming. The process begins not with force, but with awareness. The moment you catch yourself repeating a story of limitation, you weaken its hold. The instant you choose to feel gratitude in place of worry, you begin transmitting a new frequency. And every shift, no matter how small, begins weaving fresh threads of entanglement with a reality that matches your higher state. This is why personal transformation is not about striving harder in the external world, but about shifting the signals you are sending from within. The field is listening, always responding, always reflecting, and the subconscious mind is the microphone through which your life is being broadcast. So the question is no longer whether you are manifesting. You already are. The real question is, what are you transmitting into the field right now, and which version of reality is entangled with the signal you carry? To truly grasp how your thoughts create your reality, we must revisit one of the most mind-bending experiments in modern science, the double-slit experiment. This single test shattered centuries of certainty about how the universe works and opened the door to the quantum mysteries we are exploring right now. Here's what happened. Scientists fired tiny particles like electrons at a barrier with two narrow openings. If these particles behaved like solid matter, they should have passed through one slit or the other, leaving behind two neat lines on the detection screen. Simple, predictable, logical. But that's not what occurred. Instead, the particles acted like waves of energy, spreading out and interfering with each other. The result was an intricate pattern of many lines, as if the particles had passed through both slits simultaneously. Think about that for a moment. These tiny building blocks of reality behaved as though they existed in multiple states at once. They weren't confined to one outcome or another. They lived in a field of pure potential, an ocean of infinite possibilities. But then came the twist that changed everything. When scientists placed a measuring device to observe which slit the particles traveled through, the wave-like behavior instantly disappeared. The particles snapped into a single position, choosing one slit or the other. In other words, the very act of observation changed the outcome. The particles responded to awareness itself. Now let's translate this extraordinary finding into your daily life. You're not separate from those particles. The same laws govern your existence. Just as the electrons shifted based on being observed, your reality shifts based on where you place your focus. Your attention is not passive, it is creative. Each time you focus on fear, doubt, or scarcity, you collapse the wave of potential into a reality that echoes those emotions. Each time you focus on trust, gratitude, and abundance, you collapse the wave into a reality aligned with those states. This is why your inner state matters more than external circumstances. It's why two people can face the same challenge, yet one sees nothing but obstacles while the other sees opportunities. Their subconscious focus, what they are consistently observing and feeling, is collapsing different versions of reality. The double-slit experiment proved that consciousness is not just a bystander. It is a fundamental player in the unfolding of existence. Your awareness literally determines what crystallizes into your life experience. And while most people unconsciously collapse the same limited outcomes day after day, you have the ability to choose differently. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling into worry or replaying old fears, remember, you are observing. You are collapsing. You are shaping. The question is, which wave will you choose to collapse today? The one that repeats the past, or the one that carries you into the life you've been yearning to experience? If the double-slit experiment revealed that observation shapes reality, then it's time to ask, who is observing within you? Consciously, you may think you're in control, choosing your thoughts and directing your focus. But neuroscience and psychology reveal something startling. Over 95% of your daily decisions, reactions, and emotional patterns come not from conscious choice, but from your subconscious mind. Your subconscious is like the silent observer running in the background, projecting signals into the quantum field every second. It carries the stories you've absorbed since childhood, beliefs about love, money, health, worth, and possibility. And because the subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined, it treats these stories as absolute truth. continuously broadcasting them into reality. Imagine your subconscious as a radio transmitter. It doesn't matter what affirmations you say out loud or what vision board you hang on your wall if, deep inside, your subconscious is tuned to a different frequency. If it carries unresolved fear, you'll keep experiencing realities that reflect fear. If it holds beliefs of scarcity, you'll keep collapsing timelines of limitation. And if it's programmed with doubt, even the brightest opportunities will appear uncertain or unattainable. This is where quantum entanglement becomes deeply personal. Just as two particles remain connected across infinite distances, your subconscious is entangled with future versions of yourself right now. The real question is, which version are you tethered to? A self weighed down by old programming, or a self aligned with abundance, peace, and expansion? The beauty is that entanglement isn't fixed. You can update your subconscious programming and shift the reality you're entangled with. Every time you consciously choose a new thought, every time you embrace an elevated emotion, every time you refuse to replay an outdated story, you weaken the signal of the old timeline and strengthen the bond with your desired one. This is why change feels so difficult for many people, not because transformation is impossible, but because they're trying to manifest consciously while their subconscious is still entangled with their past. They say they want love, but their subconscious broadcasts unworthiness. They affirm abundance, but their subconscious still vibrates scarcity. And the quantum field, faithful and impartial, reflects the subconscious signal every time. The shift begins when you recognize that your subconscious isn't your enemy. It's simply a mirror of what it has been taught to believe. When you bring awareness to it, when you start retraining it with consistency, you realign its entanglement. You stop being unconsciously bound to cycles of repetition and start tethering yourself to futures that already exist in the field, waiting for your frequency to match. So the key question becomes, what is your subconscious observing right now? What story is it silently collapsing into reality? And are you ready to retrain that observer within so it entangles with a higher, truer version of who you are meant to be? If your subconscious is the silent observer, then the next step is to teach it to observe the right things. Remember, the double-slit experiment showed us that observation itself collapses possibility into reality. What you focus on consistently, especially with emotion, determines which version of reality becomes solid in your experience. That's why we need a deliberate method to train your subconscious to entangle with the future you actually want, not the one shaped by fear, doubt, or old programming. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through what I call the quantum focus technique. It's simple, but its effects ripple far beyond what most people can imagine. You begin at night, before sleep, because this is when your conscious mind is quietest and your subconscious is most receptive. As you lie down, take 3 deep intentional breaths. With each exhale, imagine releasing the tension, stress, and noise of the day. Feel your body begin to soften, as though you're creating space inside yourself for something new to enter. Now, with your eyes closed, picture the future you desire, not as if it's far away, not as if you're still waiting for it, but as though you're recalling a memory. That's the secret. Let it feel familiar, like something you've already lived before. If you want prosperity, imagine what it feels like to open your account and see more than enough. If you want love, feel the warmth of connection, as though it's already woven into your daily life. If you want peace, breathe into the sensation that nothing is missing, that you are whole, right here and now. The key isn't just the mental picture, it's the emotional charge. Your subconscious doesn't respond to logic, it responds to feeling. The more vividly you can embody the emotions of your desired reality, the more your subconscious begins to accept it as fact, entangling you with that timeline in the field. And as you drift towards sleep, repeat a phrase softly in your mind, a vibrational code that communicates with the field. I am entangled with my highest reality. I align with it now. This isn't wishful thinking. This is identity training. By practicing this nightly, you are programming your subconscious to shift its entanglement from old patterns of scarcity or fear into the energetic stream of your chosen future. Over time, something begins to change. Synchronicities appear, new opportunities surface. You feel a deeper sense of calm, as though life is beginning to rearrange itself around your signal, and what's happening isn't magic, it's coherence. You've stopped allowing your subconscious to run on autopilot and started directing its focus deliberately. Just like the observer in the experiment changes the behavior of particles, your focus changes the direction of your life. Each night, each repetition, each emotional rehearsal strengthens the bond with the timeline you're choosing. So ask yourself, if your subconscious is always observing, always collapsing possibilities into form, what do you want it to be observing? Tonight? What future are you willing to bond with so strongly that it becomes impossible to ignore? This is where the art of quantum manifestation truly begins, not in doing more, but in observing differently, intentionally, and consistently. To truly understand why quantum entanglement matters in your daily life, we need to look at the role of your subconscious mind. Most people assume their mind is limited to the thoughts they can consciously hear, the sentences they repeat, the visualizations they practice, the affirmations they speak out loud. But the truth runs much deeper. Beneath the surface, your subconscious is continuously broadcasting frequencies into the quantum field, shaping the very fabric of your experience. Every single belief you've ever absorbed, every memory you've carried, every emotion you've rehearsed over and over again has formed a powerful, consistent signal. And this signal doesn't stop at the boundaries of your brain. Neuroscience and quantum research show that human beings produce measurable electromagnetic waves that radiate beyond the body. These waves interact with the environment, influencing not only how you perceive the world, but how the world responds to you. Think about what this means. If your subconscious programming is rooted in scarcity, then your entire being is broadcasting that frequency into the field, entangling you with timelines of limitation. Opportunities seem to pass you by, obstacles repeat, and life feels like an uphill climb. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because you are magnetically bound to the reality that matches your dominant vibration. On the other hand, if your subconscious is programmed with confidence, worthiness, and a sense of abundance, then you naturally become entangled with timelines that reflect growth, breakthroughs, and expansion. This is where so many people get stuck without realizing it. They spend a few minutes each morning visualizing wealth or love, but the rest of their day is spent in doubt, fear, or resentment. What they don't recognize is that the subconscious, running 24/7, always outweighs the conscious effort made for just a few moments. It is the subconscious that holds the real power, the true antenna sending signals into the quantum field non-stop. But here's the liberating truth. Your subconscious is not fixed. Just like the particles in the double-slit experiment, it can be reprogrammed the moment you bring awareness and intention into the process. When you consciously choose to release the old patterns of fear and replace them with coherent states of gratitude, love, and trust, you literally shift the frequencies your subconscious is transmitting. In doing so, you realign the entanglement that binds you to your future, connecting instead with versions of reality that are waiting for you to claim them. This is why entanglement isn't just a scientific curiosity. It is a personal map. It shows you that the subconscious is not your enemy. It is your greatest tool, a hidden transmitter that, once aligned, becomes the bridge between where you are and where you long to be. To see how deeply your mind is woven into the fabric of reality, let us revisit one of the most legendary and unsettling experiments in all of science, the double-slit experiment. On the surface, it appears simple. Scientists fired tiny particles, such as electrons, at a barrier with two narrow openings. Logic told them the particles should behave like small bullets, passing through one slit or the other. Yet what unfolded defied everything they expected. Instead of behaving like solid matter, the particles acted like waves, spreading out and passing through both slits simultaneously. They didn't choose a single path. They existed in multiple states at once, creating an interference pattern as though they were in many places simultaneously. This phenomenon suggested something extraordinary. Particles, the very building blocks of matter, do not behave as fixed objects. They exist in a state of pure potential until something collapses that potential into a definite outcome. Now here's the most mind-bending part. The moment a conscious observer entered the picture, the instant scientists tried to measure which slit the particles went through, the wave of possibilities collapsed. The particles instantly chose one path, behaving like solid matter, again. The act of observation itself altered the outcome. Pause for a moment and let that sink in. Your attention changes reality. Not metaphorically, but literally. Observation transforms waves of possibility into the concrete experiences you perceive as your life. And if that's true at the quantum level, then what happens when you direct your thoughts, emotions, and subconscious focus toward a specific future? You're not merely daydreaming. You are collapsing probabilities. You are crystallizing one version of reality out of the infinite possibilities available to you. This is where your subconscious becomes critical, because whether you are aware of it or not, it is always observing, always focusing, always collapsing waves into form. If you allow it to run on autopilot, replaying fear, doubt, and old limitations, then those are the futures you continually collapse into your lived experience. But if you train it, if you program it with the vision of your highest reality, then your subconscious becomes your most powerful ally in shaping a future aligned with abundance, freedom, and fulfillment. The double-slit experiment proves what mystics, sages, and spiritual teachers have always hinted at. You are not a passive spectator in this universe. You are a co-creator, and your attention is the sculptor's chisel. Every thought you allow to take root, every emotion you nurture, every expectation you silently carry, is an act of observation collapsing one future into form while letting countless others dissolve. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is physics. And it is the reason why training your focus and mastering your subconscious state of being is not just spiritual practice. It is the most practical science of creation. If the double-slit experiment shows us that observation collapses waves of potential into lived reality, then the natural question is, how do you harness that power consciously instead of leaving it to autopilot? The answer lies in training your subconscious mind, because it is the silent observer shaping your life every moment of every day. Think about it. Over 90% of your thoughts, choices, and emotions don't come from conscious decision. They arise from deeply rooted subconscious patterns built from past experiences, old fears, and inherited beliefs. This means most people are unknowingly collapsing the same version of reality again and again, even when they long for something new. They want abundance but remain entangled with scarcity. They desire love but remain entangled with fear of rejection. They crave freedom but stay entangled with doubt and control. The subconscious becomes the gatekeeper that keeps them tied to outdated timelines. But here's the liberating truth. Your subconscious can be retrained. Just as scientists can shift particle behavior simply by altering observation, you can shift your reality by teaching your subconscious to focus differently. One of the simplest ways to begin is through what I call the quantum focus technique. Each night before sleep, when your mind is naturally more suggestible and your brain waves slow into theta states, you can plant new seeds into your subconscious soil. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and bring into awareness the version of yourself already living your highest reality. Not as a fantasy, not as something far away, but as if you are remembering it. What do you see around you? What sounds fill the space? Most importantly, what emotions are present? Let those feelings of peace, joy, and wholeness soak into your body as though they are your natural state. As you drift towards sleep, anchor it with a simple phrase such as, "I am entangled with my highest reality. I align with it now." This isn't wishful thinking. It is a deliberate act of observation. Just as measuring a particle forces it into a specific position, this nightly practice guides your subconscious to collapse the version of reality aligned with your intention. The magic comes not from how vividly you imagine, but from how deeply you feel. Your subconscious doesn't speak the language of logic. It speaks the language of emotion. When you can embody gratitude, serenity, and confidence before external results arrive, you are broadcasting the frequency of the future you desire, and the quantum field cannot help but respond. At first, it may feel subtle, even invisible, but over time, the external world begins to shift. Synchronicities appear, unexpected opportunities emerge, old obstacles dissolve. This isn't coincidence, it's coherence. You've stopped unconsciously entangling with your past and begun consciously bonding with your future, and this is just the beginning. Once you learn how to consistently align your subconscious, you'll see that manifestation is not about hoping or waiting. It's about training your internal observer until reality has no choice but to reflect what you have already become. When you look back at everything we've explored together, a profound truth emerges. Reality is not something happening to you, it is something happening through you. Quantum entanglement is not just a scientific curiosity about particles dancing across the universe. It is a mirror of your own life. Just as entangled particles respond instantly to one another, your inner world and outer world are constantly in dialogue. The thoughts you nurture, the emotions you carry, and the subconscious programs you replay are all threads weaving your reality into form. This means you are never powerless. You are never simply a bystander. At this very moment, you are entangled with a future. Maybe one filled with struggle and repetition. Maybe one filled with love, abundance, and expansion. The deciding factor isn't chance, luck, or destiny. It is frequency. It is alignment. It is the willingness to stop living as the echo of your past and to start embodying the energy of the future you choose. The double-slit experiment showed us that observation collapses potential into matter. But in your life, the observer isn't a distant scientist. It's you. Every time you focus with intention, every time you embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled, every time you surrender fear and choose coherence, you collapse a different possibility into your timeline. This is the true essence of manifestation, not pleading, not forcing, not chasing, but becoming. And yet, here's the paradox. The most powerful shifts rarely arrive with fireworks. They often feel subtle, invisible, like a calm wave settling into your chest. That serenity is not emptiness. It is proof. It is the frequency of coherence, the signal that your subconscious has begun to align with your highest reality. From that space, you don't have to beg the universe. You are the signal, and the universe faithfully reflects it back. So what do you do now? You practice. You retrain your subconscious gently but consistently. You feel today what you once postponed for tomorrow. You embody gratitude, worthiness, and peace before the world shows you proof. Because when you do, you're not pretending. You're broadcasting truth. The truth of the version of you who already lives in that reality. And the quantum field, impartial and exact, has no choice but to respond. If you take one message with you, let it be this. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest what you are. Your identity, your frequency, your coherence. This is the code that shapes timelines. And the moment you choose to align with your highest self, reality begins to reorganize itself around that choice. So breathe deeply. Anchor this truth. Whisper it to yourself. I am entangled with my highest reality, because you are. And now, as you walk forward, let your life become the evidence of that entanglement. Not someday, not eventually, but now, before you leave, I invite you to stay connected with this journey. If this message spoke to you, make sure you subscribe right now, because this space is more than a channel, it's a frequency. A frequency that will keep reminding you of who you truly are and what you are capable of becoming. And finally, type 111 in the comments below. That number is more than a sequence, it's the vibration of alignment and new beginnings. By writing it, you're declaring to yourself and to the field, I am ready, I am aligned, I am stepping fully into my highest reality.